Mike Florio, Pro Football Talk Live co-host, NBC Football Night in America, and Mike joins us now. Mike, the timing of this civil suit against Antonio Brown, what do you make of that?
Well, I mean, it is a little bit strange that the lawsuit gets filed the same day that he's announced as a member of the New England Patriots. Now, it's apparently within the applicable statute of limitations, but you just have to wonder strategically. And there's always a strategy when the lawyers are involved as to where you file suit, when you file suit, how you file suit, how you leak it to the media, how you present it, everything. If there isn't a strategy, there should be a strategy. But it is strange to think that this thing was dropped on the same day he officially became a Patriot, because I have a feeling that if the Patriots had known about this complication, they probably don't rush into the relationship, and maybe they don't even pursue it at all until they get a chance to fully understand what's going on here. Now everyone on the fly is having to figure out exactly what the situation is.
All right, help me with this. I was told two things here about 20 minutes ago, that Antonio Brown's accuser has passed a lie detector test and that she's only asking for $75,000. And so it doesn't feel like it's a money grab. That, I think people's reaction, oh, it's a civil suit, it's a money grab. Do you know if those two stories are correct?
Anytime I hear $75,000, Dan, that gets me thinking that maybe someone has misinterpreted the clause at the bottom of the complaint that sets forth what the person wants. She's filed in federal court, and she's a resident of Tennessee. He's a resident of Florida. To get federal jurisdiction, you have to be seeking an amount in excess of $75,000. So I need to go look at the actual lawsuit itself at the bottom to see what it says. It's called the prayer for relief. My guess would be, and look, she's got to be asking for more than $75,000, or she can't keep the case in federal court. So
okay.
It's unusual. There are strategic reasons for limiting yourself to $75,000 if you want to stay in state court, but she's filed in federal court. You have to be above $75,000. I don't know anything about a lie detector test. But you know what? Ultimately, it's going to come down to a lie detector test. If this thing doesn't get settled, the lie detector test is a jury. And the jury is going to hear her story, and the jury is going to hear his story, and the jury is going to decide who's telling the truth, regardless of what the truth is. And there are plenty of people who are good liars, and there are plenty of people who are bad truth tellers. And when you let that go forward, when you let that process play out, unless there is independent evidence that refutes or corroborates her claims, it comes down to what he said and what she said, and whoever the better witness is, the one who's going to prevail.
How long can something like this take?
In the court system, it can take months. It can take years. There are procedures to move these things along, but the civil justice system does not move very quickly. You've got the same judges who have to handle criminal cases. These judges are on salary; they don't get paid by the case, and you know they can take really 2-3 years by the time it's all said and done. Now, what the NFL does with it's a different issue, but the civil case itself, if it goes all the way through to a trial, it could be 2021 by the time that the jury is picked and the testimony begins.
What do you think the conversation is at the NFL home office right now?
Well, what they need to do is they need to start their investigative process. And see, one of the big flaws, Dan, with the NFL's in-house justice system, they don't have subpoena power. So you can't force people to talk to you. But in this case, you've got a plaintiff, you've got an alleged victim who has said via her lawyer she's willing to cooperate with the NFL. So the lawsuit's online. You find the lawyer's name. You call him up and you say, we'd like to talk to your client. We'd like to do it as soon as possible. They do that. They look into any other evidence that they may need to follow up on after talking to her. And then they schedule a meeting with Antonio Brown. And it can move fairly quickly. I saw there was a report from Mark Maskey of the Washington Post that the NFL will consider putting him on the commissioner exempt list, and that's one of the tools available to the NFL. If they decide based upon the preliminary investigation that there's reason to think that there was a violation, and if there's a violation here, it's a serious violation, it's a rape. This isn't, not to demean run-of-the-mill domestic violence, but there's a fundamental difference between some of the things we've seen guys get suspended for and a rape. If they think there's reason to believe that something like that happened, then they almost have to put him on the commissioner exempt list while they continue with their investigation. But she's ready to cooperate, and I think the sooner they get started on this, the sooner the NFL gets to the point where they figure out exactly what did or didn't happen.
Do you think Antonio Brown plays against Miami this weekend?
Well, my understanding is it's up to him from the standpoint of how quickly he learns the offense, what he does in practice, how quickly he earns the trust of Tom Brady, and how does this extra factor?
Well, wait, I'm talking about the whole
from this.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't think the NFL is going to talk to her this week. I just think it's already Wednesday. It's too much to have it all happen by Sunday. And I don't think the NFL is going to have a basis for putting him on the commissioner exempt list without talking to her. So if they don't talk to her this week, I don't think he will be on the commissioner exempt list come Sunday. But, here's the thing. That entire mechanism is there to let the NFL get out of a hot kitchen, right? And the NFL doesn't believe it's disciplinary. Hey, the guy's still getting paid. What does it hurt him? He's on the commissioner exempt list. He's on paid leave. And if they feel like this is too big of a story, if it doesn't die down, I can see somebody making that decision, not because of the evidence that they have or don't have, but because they think it's probably best for the game to not have Antonio Brown the focal point of discussion going into week 2.
Cleveland Browns situation with Odell Beckham. I know it maybe not a big deal, but because it's OBJ, it's a bigger deal. Why didn't the officials just say to him, you can't wear the watch in the game? You wore it during warm-ups? Like, were they? They're always looking at uniforms. So how did somebody miss this watch on Odell Beckham, and why did they allow him to wear it in the game?
Well, I'm assuming they didn't notice it. Guys wear wristbands all the time, and it may have just been something that just wasn't noticed by anyone. They've got employees who check uniforms for compliance before the game. I don't know why he was allowed to wear the thing in the game. And at some point, that's what the NFL is going to say. You can't cross the thick white stripe and go out on the field unless you take this thing off. And I don't get it. I don't want to come off as a get off my lawn type of a guy here, but just take off the watch. I mean, the same people who were saying to Antonio Brown, just wear an approved helmet, just take the watch off. Why do you need to wear the watch? You don't need to know what time it is. You're not late for your plane. It's not leaving until the rest of the team is there. I just don't understand it. And the thing about OBJ, who I love as a player, and I do think he gets unfairly criticized, Dan, that he commits so many unforced errors. He just doesn't, he wants the attention, but he doesn't want that thing that goes along with the attention, which is scrutiny. He wants attention on his own terms, and it doesn't work that way. And, he wants to look cool. He wants to look hip. He's got this watch. It was expensive. But you don't need to be wearing it. If the NFL is telling you not to wear it, just take the damn thing off. Wear it after the game.
Well, he wanted everybody to notice it, and he got what he wanted. Now, if you're the NFL, you say, all right, you slip this one by the goalie here. We're gonna keep an eye on you here, and you can't wear it. And if you do, because he probably, whatever the fine is, is this something where it's just a uniform violation and it's a standard fine, or is this a safety violation?
Well, they're claiming it's a safety violation because it's a hard object. Now, never mind the fact that every player on the field is wearing a hard object called a helmet, but at least there's a reason for having a helmet. And that was a point he made about knee braces. Hey, guys are wearing knee braces. They're hard plastic and metal. Yeah, but there's a reason for wearing them. There's no reason to have a watch on, and at some point you just have to relent. And I really do think the way the NFL handles its uniform violations, the fines get higher and higher, and eventually they will tell you cannot play if you refuse to take that watch off. And I can't imagine at that point him refusing to take the watch off. But hell, after everything we've seen with Antonio Brown last month, who the hell knows what anybody's going to do anymore?
Mike, great to talk to you. Thank you. We appreciate your time.
All right, see you then.
That's Mike Florio, Pro Football Talk Live, co-host with Chris Sims, and, of course, a member of NBC Football Night in America.
For more Dan Patrick Show, tune into Audience Channel 239 on DirecTV. Stream for free on BR Live or download the Dan Patrick Show app.